Little black boy, you know what time it is. 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 Time it is.
That whole the sipping of the champagne and this and this and this, that's when Clifton got my phone number.
What does it say? Okay, so this reality show Binger said just because his connections was stronger with Joy doesn't mean Dakiya had to back off. That's why people were
That's
mad with Bill.
so this is the thing, and I understand what the audience saw. I'm going to tell you what we experienced. We do not plan any of the dates, nor do we plan who we go out with. So what you're seeing is production showing everyone on these dates. These dates are forced. You are put on dates with most likely someone you didn't necessarily want to go on a date with. Understand this. They need footage. They need footage for the storyline. The storyline, which we didn't know until the reunion, was a love triangle. That's why I laughed and said, oh, good edit. Because we had no clue until the reunion that what you guys were going to see was a love triangle.
You had no idea. That was all.
We had no clue. Because in my mind and Clifton's mind and everybody, we're like, oh, this is a beautiful love story. Like, oh, see how it grow and this and the fun and we had no clue till we saw that clip.
I don't know, I don't know. So you didn't know there was going to be a little bit of a love triangle. You didn't think that there would be much of Dakiya and Clifton's relationship, or Clifton and Dakiya's connection. This is where I'm confused. I'm a bit confused by this, because if you know this was a business arrangement, then I'm confused, because if the business arrangements happened from early, then surely you would know that the screen would pick up on the business arrangement. If there was a business arrangement, surely then the screen will pick up on the business arrangement. Once again, I want to say this. Listen, Joy, I am cool with you. Clifton, I'm cool with you. I'm cool with everybody in the cast. But I want to talk about behavior. Something's not adding up for me at the moment. All right? I don't want him to take it to heart. I don't want him to take it like it's a personal attack. But it's personal in terms of what you're talking about. I'm confused. This doesn't make sense. How can you have a business arrangement with somebody, right? Seemingly from the beginning, I'm thinking. Otherwise, if it's not from the beginning, then it don't really make sense. Okay? Because before the retreat, they were already doing he was already doing the reassurance. I've got strong connection with you, etc., 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 etc. Right? You were saying all those things before the retreat. The camera picked that up. That ain't me. That isn't me making it up. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what the camera picked up. So at that point, was the business arrangement in progress? And I'm saying that because it's later on that Joy says the business arrangement, quote unquote, happens at the retreat, in a sense of not really before then. They have a conversation at the retreat and they say, hey, look, Clifton done got your back, which Clifton also said. But if it's before then, why would we not expect the editing to pick up certain reactions between Clifton and Dakiya? And I agree, it's not a love triangle. We all saw that Dakiya was never going to be first best. All right, we all knew that she was never going to be the first one. But there was definitely some connection between Dakiya and Clifton. And first of all, again, shout out to Kamisha for the interview with Carmen, with Joy, Demetrius, and Paul. They all came on to one interview with Kamisha as well. So I'm taking what she said, because like I said, I tell you guys, I can't tell you what they tell me behind the scenes. So when they bring it to the foreground, then I can actually say this don't make sense. I can't say things that they told me behind the scenes, but when you bring it onto the screen, I can now tell you this don't make no sense. So we're gonna break it down. I'm gonna use Kamisha's interview with Carmen Joy, and Carmen Joy, and Demetrius and Singh. I was going to focus on the last part of that interview. And if you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's on Kamisha's reviews channel. It's a very good interview where they're talking about the show and some of their experiences. So, I'm going to use that as a basis to kind of back up to what we have seen on my channel, which is with Clifton. We've had a conversation already. So we're going to break it down. All right. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor: like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for the notification of the uploads. For those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they are hot. Let's get more into this thing because I want to break it a little bit by little. But yeah, I was really confused because I was like, hold on a minute. Like, there's so many things that I want to address that they said in this interview. I was like, wow, if they came on, I would have to address this. Let's just go to this. I want to address this point that comes up here as well. When it gets to around about here, let's go.
I don't like you. No. If we're all here open, and unfortunately we can't change it right now. Tons of money being spent on cameras to roll, everyone's being nice. Everybody is just, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's showing a certain level of decorum. Clifton said it was a business arrangement. If so, why were you? Okay, so it wasn't like a business arrangement. The bottom line is, early on in the actions, is very much the interest definitely was Eric.
Okay.
And it was very obvious that that's what the case was.
Right.
Time goes on, Eric is gone, and there's a moment that her and I are talking, and I think it was at the retreat. Was that the retreat? I forgot where it was. But whatever, something, she was like, well, I think I'm going home, blah, 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 blah. And I said, girl, don't worry about it. Clifton got you. Talking about in the votes. Like, don't worry, Clifton got. So it was like you knew it's me and Clifton. You knew, like, I could say, Clifton, keep her in the rankings so she could still stay. You get what I'm saying? So she knew this was, there was no.
This don't make no sense. Oh, it does make sense, right? Okay, so just to clarify why this is really interesting. If the business arrangement happens at the retreat, Joy is there and says, don't worry, Clifton has got you. Then what was Clifton doing talking to her for 3 times in a week? If this, and again, I'm open to having a different point of view. I'm open. I'm just asking questions because something's not really adding up. If the business arrangement happens at the retreat where you tell her, where you agree, okay, you know what, he's got you anyway, cool. But then what happens before that when he's talking to her 3 times a week? Remember, I pushed him to say it because I wanted to see. He said, well, we talk. All right, cool. How many times do you talk a week? All right. Oh, we talk 3 times a week, roughly, would say. Then why are we talking 3 times a week? Remember, I asked him that on when he was on here. I said, then why would you talk 3 times a week? Because it's a business arrangement. Therefore, I don't need to keep friendlies with you. I don't need to get friendly with you. I don't need to keep it friendly with you. You already know I have your back. I'm doing this, but I've got you covered. Right? So something isn't quite adding up. And my thing is, can Joy be so sure that he hasn't double speaked? Can Joy be so sure that he has not been double speaking? This is my honest honest review. I almost feel hurt trying to say it because it sounds like I'm throwing a wedge in between someone's relationship. And by the way, we get this information late because you guys have had 6-7 months to date, but we get this information now. So we're now dealing with the show now. That's why we're dealing with it now. My issue is here: is there now more information that Joy has not been privy to, that he has been in lieu with, that now she is almost blindsided? At one point, she actually says, and I'll say it again, she says the exact same thing that Dakiya says. She said, I had the blinders on. Now, you know how I feel about that. You already know how I feel about blinders. You already know how I feel about blinders. When you start putting on blinders, it starts putting you in a position where you're going to miss some things. Right? So these questions are really important now to be asking. I'm looking at it and I'm like, this don't make no sense. Right? Now, listen to this part. Listen to this part. This is why I said, like, some of it's not really making sense to me. Okay.
Eric was really the only time she was number one until she wasn't.
Everybody really was upset about. Wait, hold on. They said Clifton was talking to her every other day. It was more than an arrangement.
No, he wasn't. No. Okay, so this is the thing. So you know how people say, you know how people say, oh, well, I have connections. I have a lot of, we connect, we connect, blah, blah, blah. We talk on the phone. Well, guess what? A lot of us talk on the phone. But what are you talking about? You understand what I'm saying? We all talk on the phone. You could say, I went on a lot of dates. We all went on a lot of dates. That means nothing because we don't plan the date. We don't plan who we go with. We are literally like, maneuvered like rats. You know what I'm saying? Put, just like a science experiment. Okay, let's put these in here and figure out, how we're going to tell the story that was already written for us. You know what I'm saying? So you have, for me, justify how deep, justify how deep that connection is. Because what I said at the reunion is that, you didn't have that kind of connection with him. You didn't even know his favorite color. And this is about a best friend's date.
Now, of course, listen, I want to be honest again. Is the whole not knowing his favorite color. I mean, to be honest, sometimes people don't even really know other people. Let's be honest, not every relationship. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so my internet went down. I wanted to play up. I think it will come back up in a second or two. It wants to be madness. But no. So with the situation, I think what like, not everybody knows everyone's favorite color. I don't know if that's really a judgment that really someone can make in regards to whether the person knows the person or not. Do you know what I'm saying? I get what Joy meant by that. I understand what she meant by that. I get why she said that. But that's not really a judgment in terms of whether somebody really has connection to that person. Also, you have to really deep as well the situation between them. That looking at the situation, when you're dealing with Clifton, she says, oh, they didn't really have much conversations. Okay, but Oprah was flirting with her, and we don't know the extent of what kind of conversations he was having. You can't be 100% sure. This is why it's almost like sending someone behind the enemy lines to do double agent, and then information comes out that the double agent might have been double speaking. You can't guarantee, exactly what that double agent was actually saying. And so to be so 100% sure, it's kind of like, yo, like, I get it. Maybe he was integrous. Maybe he was, a person who's never lied to you. Okay, I get it. But the fact that he's able to play double agent should tell you that you can't trust exactly what he says. I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? Like you this is like power. This is just like Ghost, with Tasha and what's her name, with the police cop. You can't trust Ghost after this. You can't trust Ghost will tell you the truth. You can't trust Ghost. He's out here having sex with the policewoman. You can't trust anything he says after that. You want? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it becomes very difficult to trust everything he's saying, and you're so sure 100% that he has said nilch. That's my concern. That's why I'm like, yo, I'm not saying I agree with everything Dakiya said. I'm still on the fence about this whole kiss situation. I don't know why she put the kiss situation so late. I'm gonna be honest with you. If for me, I would have brought up the kiss situation earlier. I don't know, bang bang. I'd have been like, listen, at the reunion, but wasn't he kissing me? You're telling me there's no connection. Bang bang. Did we kiss? I would have said that at reunion. So the fact that he didn't say at reunion, you know, that's my thing. I would have been like, ooh, you know, okay. That's you know, a little bit. Yeah, I'm like, okay, you know, I would have brought up a reunion. That's me personally. You know, I would have brought up a reunion. You know, so Life Boy said it might get personal. No, it shouldn't get personal because this is information that's been put on the net. This is information that's spoken about the show. I'm not talking about anything else apart from the show. If things don't make sense, I'm gonna address it. I'm not saying about them personally. I'm not saying about them. It is simply about behaviors on the show and what you have told us as information. If you put it out there, someone can question. I'm gonna question it. Do you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, look, if you put it out there, I'm gonna question it. I had these questions anyway, but now it's finally out there. I can actually question it and put a video out there. I was gonna do it anyway. You feel what I'm saying? So if they take it personally, it shouldn't be personal. Why is it personal if I'm questioning your truth? You know what I'm saying? Like they shouldn't take it personal to that point. They better not. They better not. They better not. They better not. Okay. All right. They shouldn't. All right. They shouldn't. You gotta, and this is what I'm talking about when things don't make sense. When they say certain things, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense because some of the things they're not adding up, right? It's not adding up. So I'm not saying that Dakiya said an all the way truth. I personally don't think Dakiya's an all the way true. No offense to Dakiya too. I don't believe everything she says. I still don't get this kiss situation. How the kiss situation gets let, you know, last minute. You know, so you know, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. There's a last part I just want to just quickly just finish.
That's cut out. You don't hear that part. How about the best friend's date? How about the best friend's date? You don't know anything as simple as the man's favorite color. You don't know his favorite color. You don't know his favorite artist. You don't know how he likes his pancakes. You don't know his favorite drink. You don't know any of that stuff, but you had a strong connection. That was what I was debunking during the reunion. And that's why all that stuff was being cut out. The only reason she circled that was because she had no connections after Eric. And so she needed, for some apparent reason, the need to still stay because, you know,
Now, this part I do agree with, right? I do agree this point, right? This is a part that I do agree with because if you really deep it, I don't think they knew. I don't think they knew everything about. You know, I definitely believe that the connection with Dakiya and Clifton probably wasn't as strong as Joy. But I think we all saw that from the actual show. I definitely believe that she circled back on Clifton because the Eric situation happened. I agree that 100%. I don't disagree. I don't think there's anything to disagree about that. So I 100% agree that. My biggest thing is again we're again kind of trying to tell the person what kind of connection they had, and we don't know the fullest part because, like I said, if you're saying he hasn't got a strong connection, he ends up telling her we got a strong connection. And that's why I'm like, so do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's how it becomes problematic. It's like you're saying they didn't have a strong connection, but your man was telling another woman, oh, we got a strong connection. So at that point, just call it what it was. He was lying to her. Call it what it is. He was lying to her. Right? He was lying to her. Because remember, at that point, it's not a business deal, right? I'm assuming it's not. I'm assuming because she hasn't made it known that the business deal was happening before then. She was saying production puts you on dates. That's what she said. Production puts you on dates. You don't get a choice in the dates. Notice she never mentioned anything about the fact that, you know what, we discussed previously, myself and Clifton, what he was going to do when he went on those dates. He didn't have to. So that's what I'm saying to you. How can you be so strong? Why does it have to be? Why is Joy so strong in knowing exactly what he actually said? And this is the kind of questions I would ask if they came on my channel. I would ask these questions. How can you be so strong? You know? Because honestly, it sounds like we have two different stories going on. You know what I mean? It sounds like there's two different stories going on. Let me go to the next part. You know me. I like to, like I said, I like the evidences uh to prove our points, and we're talking, okay?
Exactly who we are. They know us better than we do. And I'm I just want to say thank you for everyone being so invested in the show. Thank you for the comments, negatively and positively. Thank you for telling us about ourselves. Thank you for having so much emotion, um, and riling you up with all this spirit. Like, thank you guys so much. But also remember, this was television. And it is up to you to choose whether there was another possibility or something more. It is up to you to be open to receive that it could have been something different. It could have been something more. Because truth be told, we all know. So the horse is right here. The horse is right. Hold on, I'm trying to get the hand right. The horse is right here and here. Wait, can't get it. I'm trying to point to Carmen. You know, it doesn't matter what we say. You will choose not to believe our truth, because the thing is, you, the audience, got an altered reality. We're talking about the reality, and no one thinks that anything is different from what you saw, and it's okay.
Now, here's my biggest thing. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this real spit. People need to be aware how you get perceived when you do certain things. Okay. I tell when I speak to cast members, I ask them, I advise them and say, listen, you guys don't know. Some people that have been on the show before they come on my platform, I'll share a little secret, something a little small. Some people that have come on my platform, I have sat with them and spoken with them. I said, if you say it like this, it's gonna come out like this. If you say it like this, the audience is going to react like this. If you don't be accountable in this area and you say something about someone else, it will come out like this. Because I'm very much aware of how we're going to be received and perceived by an audience. Okay? We have to be aware that you are going to be perceived and received in a certain way. Now, can I be very, very clear? I'm talking about behaviors now. What Joy just did in that little section there is precisely why she ends up being called a mean girl. Because what she did in that little instance is that she, underneath the guise of sarcasm, was actually kind of insult the audience. Now, if you got no brains, you might not catch it. But I believe my audience is a very smart audience. I believe my audience can perceive. I believe my audience is good at reasoning. I believe my audience is good at critical thinking. I really believe my audience is smart. Y'all don't play. You know, you don't play with me. So I know immediately that, I can't get away with nothing, right? Y'all called me out for Sabrina yesterday, the other day, and things like that, right? My audience are very switched on. So when you start using sarcasm, like the audience, are very emotional, when you don't believe, you're using the guise of sarcasm to insult the audience. That's why you start looking like a mean person. Because underneath the guise of sarcasm, you started insulting the audience. We don't agree with you. You're absolutely right. We do not agree with you in the way that you presented yourself. Okay. And that's okay. Then you come and tell your truth, and we may agree to disagree. But when you go underneath the guise of sarcasm, trying to make it as if you are actually just saying what you were saying, when really you're actually insulting the audience, that becomes a problem to the audience. They're now going to perceive you in the way that you didn't want to be perceived. If they now start saying that you nice nasty, or they start saying you're mean girl, this is why. Because sometimes these behaviors that you do end up showing you for who you are on the show. So when the show shows you, for instance, at the very beginning of the show, I called out Joy and I said, Joy, the behavior of Joy, I don't like it. I said at the very beginning, the way she dealt with Fernando, then it resurfaced itself with Demetrius, and now it's resurfaced itself with Dakiya, and now we're seeing it on lives. What do you want the audience to do at that point? But apart from gather a pattern of behavior and say, this is your behavior. Remember, I'm not talking about her personally, whether she's bad or good. We discuss behavior here. We discuss behavior. I don't like your behavior. I think your behavior here is not great. I think your behavior here shows that, etc., etc. So what I'm saying is, in that little segment, you know, it was a sarcastic comment to the audience, but people are going to pick up on it and be like, she's trying to insult our intelligence. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, it's not about trying to get the audience to hate on Joy. No. We're picking up on behaviors and saying, look at this behavior. Look at this behavior. Right? And analyze the behavior. What have you perceived from the behavior? Right? I don't want to see Joy and Clifton break up. That's not what my end goal is. My end goal isn't to say, well, look, Joy and Clifton broken up. I've never said that. I've never been on. My thing was there were holes in the story. And I think everyone's got holes. As Jay put it, you know, another round put it, everybody seems to have a lying problem. You know, another round said it very well. Everyone seems to have a lying problem, it seems, right? Because there are holes in everybody's story. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was a bit confused by that. Let me just quit this here. Oh my days. I exit the thing. My bad. I want to look at this clip here. And it's like, you know, and again, like I said, it's about behaviors we're discussing. We're not discussing whether we like people or not. We're discussing behaviors. How do we deal with those behaviors? What do we feel about those behaviors? And what is the implication of those behaviors? How does it affect people and their perception of you? You know,
We will never win. We will never win. But I will not continue to put the focus on what's being said currently, because that stuff should have been said way before. It's very difficult to believe anything. Again, I don't have a connection. I never had a connection with, you know, them. We were not friends. We never talked on the phone. That, you know, and that's absolutely fine. But, you know, Carmen, you and I built our friendship off of being, I don't want to say ostracized, like kind of pushed away, but we built our friendship because we kind of was separated. Didn't really realize it at the time, because we're treating the whole show like, you know, you're coming in for work. But there's something in us. We recognize several things we have in common. We have so much respect for the men on this show. You know, we came on this show with a purpose. We came on this show trying to, you know, find our future, you know, someone we want to move forward in life with, you know. That's something we had in common. That, and also we're very upfront. We're blunt. We're not about the BS, you know, but it took us being pushed away from the BS to notice, like, that's what pushed us together. The BS pushed me and Carmen together, on top of Clifton, because Clifton was like, you know, I talked to Carmen more than I talked to Dakiya. You know, Carmen is cool as I don't know what. Joy, you would really like Carmen. You know what I'm saying? This is Clifton saying this to me.
So up until that point, Joy wouldn't have been cool with Carmen until the BS pushed them together. So that's so okay. And I'm not even saying this. I'm not saying anything necessarily bad of it, but it's interesting that it took a situation where they have been ostracized from the group by the group of women. They've been ostracized by that group, right? And then, as I said, then Clifton also says, "You'd be cool with, you know what? You'd get on with Carmen." Why didn't she get on with Carmen before he actually says anything? That's what I'm saying is questions. It's not necessarily that we that we say it's bad or anything, but again, I have to question it. So the friendship didn't exist until one, Clifton says something, and two, until you both are ostracized out the group because you guys say whatever you say, right? Because you're quite straight shooters. Again, I don't have a problem with straight shooters, but I always tell you guys, truth without love is problematic. When people like to cut down the line, my question is, if you are a straight shooter, right, do you also understand the impact of your straight shooting? The straight shooting is what we saw with Demetrius. Is that straight shooting? Because that's just shooting for me, right? The thing we saw with Fernando, was that straight shooting? Because that was just shooting for me. It didn't take into account how the other person may feel when they're on the other end of your gun. So my key question here is, if both of them have come together because they're straight shooters, are you really straight shooters or are you just shooters? I have to ask that question, because I ask this question because when I talk about social groups and how people form in social groups, because that's also part of the psychology as well. When we talk about these shows, how do people formulate friendships? Why do people get ostracized from groups? And it's because people don't adhere to the social norm and the social rules. Now, that is not to say that the other group is perfect. It doesn't mean that. It does not mean the other group is perfect. All I'm saying is, in order for the girls to get along or for the guys to get along, there is a commonality of rules that are probably unspoken that happens. When the rules are flouted in a social normative group, what happens is people are ostracized. Now, here's the thing. People don't like rejections from group because in the past, when you look at the history or biological history of mankind, when a person was ostracized from a group, they no longer had protection. They were now open to the external threats of the world. Now we don't have those external threats as such, but when you're ostracized from a group, the feeling of rejection happens. Now, key point in this is, why is it the group didn't get along with these two individuals? Were the group moving mad, or was Joy and Carmen's behavior causing ostracization? That's the key question. And it's giving the point of, similar enough, how last season we had the same situation. All right. So for me, it's looking at how these groups are formulated. And so why these two are being exited from the group? Why is it these two found each other when they were ostracized from the group, or at least when they said they didn't want to be part of that group? Maybe they said they didn't want to be part of that group. Maybe I should say it better that way, right? Maybe I should say it that way. They're not everything part of that group. Now, not being a part of the group doesn't mean you can't be called a group. I want to make it very clear. There are two different things here. Not being part of a group does not mean you don't have to be cool with the group. Right? So someone can be like, and it's very much like school sometimes. Remember, you had the popular kids, and there was always like a bunch of few kids who could be around the popular kids and people that weren't very popular, but was never in the group of popular kids or the non-popular kids. But it can fluctuate between the two. They don't have to be part of the group. So humans can do it. They can do it where they can enjoy a group but not be a part of it and not have any issues with that group. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a situation like, okay, they found each other at the end. What's the behavior behind that? What's the behavior behind that? Why is it that you have either been ostracized or you yourself have been removed? And her words were, when we got isolated, you know. So, you know, and that's also a possible point too, JR. That's also a possible point too, that everyone else might have been just not looking for love, you know. I mean, that's a possible thing. Could be, you know. I'm not gonna throw that out the window. That's also a possible thing as well. Okay, cool. So let's look at this part. I think this last part of this, and then I got,
you know. But it took having to get out of the process to really connect with Carmen for us to really get that 360 degree and realize the part that people were playing. Because, you know, I had on blinders. I didn't know a lot of the things that were going on. I had no clue. I didn't know people's intentions or anything like that.
I would have never thought some of the ways. I just.
So that's what part I said about Joy saying she had blinders on, and I said the same thing about Dakiya. So I have to be consistent here. When you have blinders on, right, you actually become a problem not only to yourself but to other people, right? If you have blinders on, you're not only a problem to yourself but to other people. If you drive on the road and say you have blinders on, you're a problem to yourself and other drivers on the road. So when you're talking about having blinders on, and I'm gonna say, put this disclaimer, I'm assuming she also means throughout the process, right? I'm assuming she means also throughout the process. If that is the case, then what I'm saying, then I'll back what I'm saying, which is that if you have blinders and you can't see what other people are moving and doing, and you actually do need to be aware of what other people are doing. And I said this last week. I said you'd be surprised that how Joy and Dakiya ain't that much different in terms of putting up blinders. And I said this last week. The only difference between Joy and Dakiya is that Joy gets the man, but they have the same energy in terms of the way they moved, that they locked down so early. Right? I said the exact same thing. I said Joy and Dakiya have pretty much the same energy in terms of locking it down real early. Because if you put on blinders, that's exactly what Dakiya said. I put on blinders. So blinders now mean that when I now look at your answers in regard to how you're dealing with the Clifton situation, behavioral, again, behavioral, okay, behavioral, I now have to say, oh, if you put on blinders too, just like Dakiya did, then of course you'll just believe what Clifton has told you. You won't question what Clifton has told you, because I'm looking at the situation like it don't make sense. Because I don't have these blinders, number one. Number two, I'm not involved in their relationship, so I have an outside perspective. So I'm not biased in terms of their relationship, right? It's harder to see when you're actually in a relationship, so I have to give it that point, right? So that's my biggest thing. Otherwise, Joy would have been the same position Dakiya was in. You know? So again, it is not about saying I don't like them. It's about behavior. I want you to listen. It's about behavior. It's about behavior. Okay? Behavior is what we're dealing with.
It almost hurts your soul a little bit to see how people will manipulate things and how people feel that after the rejection, I will try to say things to bring down someone else. I mean, you're right. We didn't form a relationship. I think it's almost the best way. We formed a relationship outside, meaning we could be true to ourselves and not have any, thing that's, hindering us. But also, you're right. We were pushed. If people don't know, when they have all these brunches and these women's get-togethers, they don't invite Joy and I. The two people who went to the then 5 and 6 or 4 and 5, however they want to say it, get-togethers, we are not invited. We're not asked. There's no DMs. There's no text. Why are the two women who went to the end and found love? Why aren't they in these group women, seminars and events and empowerment. It's like, what did we do? Because we found love, we're going to be pushed out. So, you know, during those processes, we got to talk. And it's not like I said, I don't have a problem really with anybody. You know, I wish them the best.
I don't know if you heard, but Carmen said, they don't invite us two, Joy and Carmen, to any of these brunches. Oh, girl, why would you think they would invite you to these brunches? Why? I'm not inviting you to brunch. If you said you came on a show not to make friend, you said you came on a show not to make friend, cool. But then if you behavior shows that you isolate yourself, or let's say we ostracize you because of the way your behaviors are causing issues amongst the group, then of course we're not going to invite you after. Why would we invite you after? Why would we invite you to women empowerment lunches when you're not empowering women? Huh? Why would we invite you to? Right? Why would we invite you? Look, it got to a point. Eric is saying, you know what? One point, remember this particular scene where Eric comes and tells Carmen that, oh, Dakiya, the Dakiya situation. Basically, he was saying that Dakiya was moving kind of desperate with him, and they put that on camera, right? That Dakiya was kind of moving desperate with Eric. I was expecting if you about the women thing, you'd be like, listen, don't say that. It's not cute to say that. You know, don't say that in front of me. That's not cool, right? But you allowed it to happen because you didn't mind, right? Cool, all right. Then later on, you tell the truth about Paul saying he didn't fancy Dakiya. Later on, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Then you influence Donovan to tell Demetrius that there was a kiss involved. Sis, it's not looking good. Why would we invite you? Deep it. Why would they invite you? And Joy too. Why would they invite you if the energy that you have towards Dakiya, again, you're forgetting the energy that we're having towards people, right? The way the energy towards people, this group, why would they want to invite you? So they wouldn't invite you. I mean, you know, hey, listen, I personally stop. I'm just saying, when it comes to group dynamics, if you offend the group is not about to invite you out. That's what I'm saying. In group dynamics, if you offend the group or you offend one of the leaders of the group, you ain't coming to the event. Right? We ain't coming to the group. It don't make sense. So I get it. Look, I think, and this is what I think it is as well. Again, it is, and even as a male, I'm like, oh damn, you know, hey, you know, so it's a bit tight still. The prior cast too, you've got to have beef online. Yeah, they did. They definitely had beef online. The prior cast, the same thing. You know, the same thing. Yeah, the same issues. You know, it's not the two people at the very end who are why they're not inviting you. They're not inviting you because you have issues with you. She says she has no issues with the people, but I'm like, I think they have issues with you, Carmen. I think they do. That's why they're not inviting you. You know, like, I'm not even being rude about it. I'm just saying, in behavioral wise, it don't make sense, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's put this last few clips. Like I said, it was a very good interview. Again, if you haven't watched it, go watch Kamisha's interview on this with Joy and
Ever.
Carmen.
So it does not matter what you do, it's what's inside. And people aren't seeing that. They're seeing what's on paper and what's on TV.
Right.
Understand, how did they have connection with that person? That person seems like that. Well, they edited that person to be like that.
What did they call it? Favorable editing. Because I mean, truthfully, shoot, everybody liked me. Everybody liked me up until the reunion. But think about it, just for like 1 second. Just think about it. Why would I go off on you? You only. Why? There has to be something more. There has to be something more. There is a level of, what did I say the other night? I said self-deception, you know, that is amazing. We don't know these people. We don't know these women. We didn't know these guys. But the thing is, I know the guys more because I spoke to them more. I still have friendships and rapport with them now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't have this with the women. I don't know these women. I don't know them at all. I couldn't tell you anything personal or on the subs, I can't even scratch the surface. I don't know these women, just like they don't know me at all.
And that is the point. So when people say that Joy particularly is male identified, I personally like to say she carries a bit more masculine energy. But when they say more identified, that's what we're talking about. That's what people mean. When people, I personally like to say more masculine energy, therefore find it easier to be around men than it is around women. But that's what they mean. Right? So that's she just said it herself. She knows more about the men than she does about the women. Right? Of course, you're going to talk to a lot of the more men. You're going to have conversation with the men. I understand that. But to almost like you basically said, you ain't had no conversation with the women at all. Then what the audience will say as a behavioral aspect, Celios, Celios, what's going on here? They will say, well, then you are more identifying with the male energy. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why we're saying that. That's why some people will say that she's more male identified. I personally again like to say more masculine energy, therefore finds it easier to be around men. And because obviously, like I said, she had a father figure in her life consistently, and we didn't really hear about the mother figure. The importance, she actually says it on this live and says, her and Clifton spoke at lengths about their fathers, meaning how important their fathers were in their lives and how instrumental, meaning that the male influence is very heavy with Joy. So interesting enough, that kind of proves a point by saying you never had any real relationship with a woman, but you had it with the men. That kind of proves a point. You know what I mean? So yeah, I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? I totally understand it. You know, again, we talk about behaviors. Again, we're talking about behaviors. Not that they shouldn't be in a relationship, not that they shouldn't have anybody. We're saying that this is how people interact in a group setting. In group settings, this is how you behave. In a competitive situation, this is how you behave. I think it comes out quite clearly what we mean by that. Let's put this point here. Let's put the point here. Yeah, okay, cool.
My experience has nothing to do with your journey on this show. Your decisions and choices. I have nothing October. The reunion was in February. We are now in May. Why all this negativity? Why all of this, why are you moving? Why are you leveraging what you saw on what the audience saw on TV to sit here and push a certain narrative or to say something about me? Now, I thought everybody was happy. I thought everybody had moved on. I thought, you know what I'm saying?
This point has been made by Clifton too. And it's been made by other cast members as well. I think Donovan made the same point. I want to make it very clear. 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. When the show comes out, fresh feelings are going to come back out again. Have you ever had an argument with somebody that was a year ago and the argument gets rehashed a year later? The same feelings happen. This is actually psychological. When we have experiences, we attach emotions to those experiences. And when they're brought back up again, those same emotions can be re-experienced at that point in time. This is simple psychology. So when the show gets aired now, bear in mind, it might have been 6 months for you, but when the show gets aired now, Unfortunately, those feelings are re-experienced, and they've had time to sit down, think, contemplate, have different thoughts. It's settled differently, and now you have a different conversation. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the exact same thing with the Clifton comment about keep our names out your mouth. And it's like, no, you can't say that because the person's been asked about their experience on the show. Because all then it becomes is controlling when you say that. Why would it be controlling? Why would you say that? Why would I? And again, this is why I said about self-awareness. Being perceptive of things. This is what it comes into. Being aware that you're in a season where the show is being brought up once again, and the show is talking about what happened, and you're reliving that same experience. The same could also be said. If the show was 6-7 months ago, why you pressed yourself now? If the show was 6-7 months ago, why you pressed? You're pressed because we feel these emotions, and it's okay. You're allowed to feel these emotions 6-7 months down the line because it's being rehashed. Questions are being asked. I totally understand that. So yes, there will be a feeling of that. There will be a feeling coming back up again. You know, and that's natural. Okay? It's natural. So once again, it seems like we're almost trying to diminish or tell it felt like that this was a comment made towards Dakiya once more again to say, why are we having these same feelings come back up again? Dakiya and Sabrina, because she actually mentioned Sabrina later on, right? Now, this part is really interesting. Listen to this part, really interesting. Again, shout out Kamisha on her channel. She did a video on an interview with Joy and Carmen, and this was all the stuff that's coming out. So I'm using it to kind of back what we know already and what's been said. You know, okay. You know, bro, and do you know what? Thank you very much, Life of Bodge. Thank you very much, Life of Bodge. Thank you so much, because the audience did do it to him. Well done, sir. Well done. Because it, you know, they did it to Tori in my audience. They did it to Corey. They did do that. Yeah. They did do that to Tori. They did, and tell him it's a few months ago. Why are you still stressed? Some of you did that. So y'all gonna have to check. Some of you gonna have to check yourselves. Some of you have to check yourselves before you wreck yourselves. Just like you got me with the Sabrina thing, y'all gonna have to check yourselves too. Just like you got me with the Sabrina thing, you're gonna have to check yourselves too. Looks like we're all getting a little reckoning this week. Okay, I'm not the only one. We're all getting a little reckoning, aren't we? You know, you know, they're all getting it. I guess we're all getting our necks. My neck is still hurting from when they told me about Sabrina. So my neck still hurts from Sabrina. So guys, you know, when you're stepping on my neck about Sabrina, yeah, my neck's still hurting. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, that if that's the point right there, we love that point. Okay, coming back on this.
My personality or my experience has nothing to do with your journey on this show. Your decisions and choices, I have nothing to do with anyone's process. I had nothing to do with it. None. How you move, your choices, what you chose to do, how you chose to engage, interact, manipulate, deceive, that was you. I didn't influence that. I didn't do anything with that. I was laser focused on what I came here for. My purpose was to find love. And if my person was not here, I wasn't going to fight tooth and nail. I was not going to sit here and do any and everything possible to make it to the end. I would have been okay going home early. I would have been fine with it. You know?
Oh, just quickly there, two things. First thing she said was, I don't impact your process and your journey. What you choose to do is what you choose to do. And that's absolutely true, right? In one aspect, that is absolutely true. Joy does not speak for anybody else on that cast, right? She doesn't influence anyone else on that cast to a point. But the other aspect is that you do actually influence people's journey. When you tell someone, when you're feeling like you're being territorial, I'm not saying she actually is, I'm saying when you end up being territorial, when you say certain comments, when you feel a certain type of way and people can see it, you do affect people. You do affect their journey. You know what I mean? You do affect how they move. Again, this is what I'm talking about, being self-aware. Self-awareness tells us we do affect people by our behavior. We affect people. Right? Oh, sorry, the comment you want to see. Yeah, my bad. You know, we see these behaviors, and I'm like, look, once again, when you see the situation with Joy, Dakiya, and Clifton, she said, obviously, she said something interesting. She said, I wouldn't have minded going home. But I'm like, but when Demetrius was talking about you going home, bang, bang, came right out the woodwork. You know? Suddenly going home was a bang, bang for Demetrius. So really and truly, would you have been comfortable going home? I'm asking a question once more again. Would she be comfortable of going home early when you were dropping bang, bang, and you were excited about dropping bang, bang, because it was even a cutscene? You was like, well, I just bang, bang, right? Would you have been cool going home at that moment? That's a question I'm now asking, because you're saying you would have been comfortable going home, but what we saw was not comfortable you going home. Do you see what I'm saying? At that point. Yeah? So, yeah. Hey guys, relax. We don't want to beef here. We don't need a beef here. Kamisha's entitled to have her say and her opinion, guys. All right, let her have her say. Let her have her opinions. We can agree to disagree respectfully. We don't have to make it a beef. We can agree to disagree respectfully. So let Kamisha have her view. Agree to disagree respectfully, guys. All right, respectfully agree to disagree. All right. Yeah. So you know that's a really important point I want to make as well. This part here is interesting as well. I want to just bring this part because it was about Sabrina. Okay.
If their narrative is, see, the thing is this: for Sabrina, I was not a part of her journey. I have nothing to do with her journey. Her perception of me is very new to me. What I heard, the small snippet of what she said in her interview, I'm like, okay, all right. But again, Joy has a habit of, Joy has a habit of telling the truth. Joy has a habit of being upfront. Joy has a habit of calling bullshit. That's what Joy has a habit of. Now, whether you don't like my tone, I ain't never lied to you. And I have never said anything to anyone in which you can't go back and use it and utilize it in how you walk in this world. How anyone has moved in this process has been by their choice and their choice only. However, it's a science experiment. Those dates are manufactured dates. I was on a whole bunch of dates with Paul. Does that mean that I had a relationship with Paul, that I was infatuated and had the, oh, he really, really liked me because I had a whole bunch of dates with Paul? No, I had a whole bunch of dates with Paul because they wanted me to have a whole bunch of dates with Paul.
Now, she spoke about her situation with Sabrina, but she forgets that she was actually backing Tori even at the reunion. I think also in a retreat she might have done as well. I'm not sure. Was that at a retreat? You guys give me the confirmation. Was it at a retreat that she also said something about Tori as well? Said about, I think she said Sabrina go to Tori or something like that or whatever or something like that. I can't remember. Right. So, even though you may not be involved with people's personal journey, but you have said something along those lines. You have really defended Tori in the Sabrina situation. And I get it. I get it. I do understand. So I totally understand. In this particular aspect, that she wants to tell the truth. I think it's just the way we tell the truth that's really important. I think there's a way to tell the truth which isn't cutting and trying to break people, right? Like if we tell the truth, I want you to improve. I want you to grow. And I want to be able to tell you in particular light that it's not going to be, oh, I'm just trying to get at you. You know what I mean? Okay. So that's why I was like, all right then. Let me read this part here. So I think in this instance, you know, to be fair, I mean, and I know Sabrina did come at Joy. She said Joy's X, Y, and Z. You know, said she's been mean throughout the whole of the season. It be like that, you know. Sometimes, and that's a good point. That's a good point. Sometimes it's not your place to say any truth at all. And this is why I keep saying people who are straight shooters oftentimes lack awareness because they just start shooting without considering whether the impact of their shooting is going to improve a person's position or actually come to understanding, right? And this is the honest truth. This is the same thing we get on Kevin Samuels for is what we get here with Joy. That when you tell the truth in such a way that it's to almost break the person, it no longer becomes a truth. It just becomes a weapon. It becomes a weapon. Right? Language is so important in the way that you deliver a message. Shut up is not be quiet, please. You know what I mean? F off is not go away. Right? And again, timing and season for some of these messages. No one's saying she's Kevin Samuels. I'm saying delivery. Once again, delivery. When you deliver, how do you deliver? Harsh truth being delivered in a particular way is really detrimental to what people are receiving, right? That's the key point I'm trying to make. How you deliver this message is going to be received in a particular way. If I got respect for you and I want to show you love, how do I approach you in a way that will make you receive this message? That's a true point. That's also a true point. I think there are times and there are seasons. There is a time in a season when a hardcore message is like, you know what? Da-da-da-da. We can all get behind it. But if your ethos is always hardcore message, people won't get behind that very, very quickly. It just becomes like you're railing on people. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about again. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold. And so that's the most important part. You know, it gets like that to that point. Okay, last few points, guys. Last few points. Let's go to it. Cool.
So they do injustice to some of us.
Yeah,
Make sure
they did.
don't
Yeah.
than the other person. Like now you all know all the connections I had. You know what I'm saying? Never showed Demetrius. Talking about Demetrius in the women's lounge, like we talked for 4 hours. You were looking like, what? Like you all don't see that because no, we got to keep Carmen as the villain. Can't make her a sweet too. We can't make her likable, desired. So they played you guys, and it's okay. You all enjoyed it. I have no hard feelings for some of the harsh things, but now that you
and pause it there again, we're doing it once more again. Carmen says it's okay. They played you guys. Played us where? Played us where? Where did we get played? Because you're still showcasing those same behaviors the show highlighted. Look, as much as the show can highlight one type of behavior and it can take it out of seeming context, if you come out and behave the exact same way as what we see on the show, then the show wasn't getting you out of context. It was getting you who you really are. We only needed to see Joy 3 times. Fernando, Demetrius, Dakiya, to only see how you behave that way. We only need to see Carmen and the way that she maneuvered within the process, talking about her hair is real and you know, in comparison to other ladies, coming at Dakiya the way that she actually did, then exposing Paul what he said to Dakiya to try and get a one up on Dakiya. When you start looking at that, then you come outside of that process and you can throw a little bit of shade on your lives and stuff like that. Then nobody's going to have a different opinion to what we saw on the show. Right? It's not going to show that. Carmen had a whole host of connections. Yes, it doesn't change behavior. And that's exactly what we mean. Precisely, Jessica G. This is what we mean by behavior. It doesn't change how we see you because it's behavior we're reviewing, not you as a person who had many connections. Right? So that's why I'm saying that it's important to get and understand that you are contributing towards a perception of you. You just basically told the audience, yeah, we got duped. So what do you mean we got duped? We didn't get duped. We're seeing things as we're seeing things. You come and then tell us a different side, and we'll either agree to disagree or we'll agree. That's the truth. Right? We can only go on what we've been shown. Of course, maybe they could have shown some other aspects of you. But then that aspect of your behavior isn't a lie. Right? That other aspect of your behavior isn't a lie. It is you. Right? Now, anything we see on the lives, anything we see on you guys' lives that you guys do, that's going to be the true you. Right? So I want to put it out there again. If anybody goes on the show, you have a duty to be self-aware enough to be able to understand what my behaviors are. Right? We have a duty to understand what the show is and a duty to understand how when you do certain behaviors, what it will look like. Right? Which is why I would never say, well, you audience, you're dumb. Or you know what, you audience, you're foolish. Or you audience, you don't know nothing. You're not going to hear me say that. I don't even say it to normal people. So it's never going to come out of my mouth to say it to my audience. Whether we agree or not, we're going to have a disagreement. I may even get a little bit heated. I'm going to have to apologize after because that's actually me. That's actually me. As a person, me personally, that's actually me. Right? That's actually me. Right? So, you feel like I'm only doing this live because Carmen canceled an interview with you. Yeah, partly. I can tell you the absolute truth. Partly, I was going to do it, but I would have done it after the interview. I'd have waited. I'd have played the game. Listen, if you know me, I will never come and call cap and lie. I would have done this after the interview. I would have had her on the show first, then did the interview, then did it this way. I'll be honest with you. That's the honest truth. I'm not going to ever come and be like, oh, no, that wasn't on my mind. Absolutely, yes. I would have done this right after the interview with Carmen. I would have waited to have the Carmen interview. Then I would have had my own information. All right. I would have had my own information, my own live, my own questions, my own knowledge from what conversation we had. I could have added it to this conversation. I would have added it to this conversation, but I couldn't. You know what I mean? I couldn't. So there was no point. There was no point waiting to. So unfortunately, I can't wait till after. I can't. The interview's not happening. Fantastic. I can now do it earlier. I would have done it later. That's what I'm talking about, taking accountability and being honest. See, I could have sat here and been like, no, I wouldn't have done that. No, it's not because I've cancelled. I was willing to do this anyway. No, I was doing this anyway. No, I was doing this anyway. No, come on. I was going to do this anyway, but I've pushed it up even more. The fact that I'm not having an interview, I've pushed it up. I've pushed it up. Oh, I would have done this maybe a little bit later on, but no, I've pushed it up. You know, let's be honest. Like, even doing this video, part of my mind is business. Part of my mind knows that this is business. Yeah, me doing this video, part of it is business. As much as I want to tell the truth, I do want to tell the truth. I do want to question people. I do want to hold people accountable, but let's keep it a buck. It makes money too. So I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm in the business after all. I'm in the business after all. I'm in the business. I'm in the business. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It ain't it. You know what I mean? That's all, Isabella, and you're absolutely right. I took smoke yesterday. I came on a live and I took smoke yesterday. I said, you know what? You guys are right. It's an oversight on my behalf, right? It's an oversight on my behalf. Ill prepared for that meeting, not having the correct notes so I can ask correct questions. I was winging a lot of the interview. I'm going to be honest with you. I was winging a lot of the interview. So, unfortunately, I was not at my best. That's a buck. That's accountability. I have to be honest. So when you tell me I didn't do what I was supposed to do, you're absolutely right. I didn't. Not the way I wanted to. Not with the same intensity in questioning, because I couldn't remember half the facts of what other things were said. So I couldn't even question what she said. Apart from Tori, I couldn't question it as much. That's not the truth. Yeah, and that's what happens when you're ill prepared for something and you don't do the right work. That's what happens. That's what happens. So again, how do you hold yourself accountable? How do you hold yourself accountable? I got to be accountable. I could have done more. Next time, be well prepared. Don't go into an interview not being fully prepared. Because now I couldn't remember half the facts of what she said, because she said quite a lot of things on other interviews. I was like, whoa, you didn't even like Tori at one point? I didn't even bring that up to her. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you start realizing that you didn't prepare yourself, I've got to hold myself accountable. If you say, and you know what? I expect you to be as hard as Sabrina. You're absolutely right. Unfortunately, I wasn't on it. I was much harder in my reviews than I was when I saw her person face to face. Problem. I now have to make sure that don't happen again. Do you know what I'm saying? Someone said, bring Sabrina back. What, to blast her? It says, I think you're a bit blinded by Dakiya's auntie vibe, so you're not seeing how covert she is in her ways. But what's there? I haven't praised Dakiya. So what are we talking about? What are we really talking about? I haven't really praised Dakiya at all. If anything, I told her accountable. You know what I mean? So what more do we need to talk about Dakiya? Even part of my audience, we've kind of disagreed about how do we hold Dakiya accountable. Some of us didn't agree, some of us did agree. Right? So, what part more do we need to Dakiya? There's no blinding here with Dakiya, because at the end of the day, I haven't agreed with whether there was a kiss or not. I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. But okay. Exactly. I made several videos around Dakiya. That was definitely I was definitely probably not her favorite person. Do you know what I mean? So so that was it. Yeah, Kush. Honestly, I made the way I questioned Sabrina. It wasn't a good look. You know what I mean? I need to, I was problematic there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to get at me. I have to hold that L. I have to hold that L. Do you know what I mean? I definitely will. Okay. Last part of this thingy. Last part of the thingy. Let's look at this.
Side of making, having a conversation about, your jobs and professions and scratching the surface, we all had connections. The dates, we don't plan the dates. If we were trust and believe, if we were able to control the dates we went on, it would be a whole different story, because then you would really see, hopefully, people building, nurturing something. She can't prove anything. She won't prove the kiss. She can't prove a strong connection other than just saying it. Just because you say it doesn't make it true. When you're talking about matters of the heart, me and Clifton were talking about our fathers, how important they are to us, how important they were to us. You know what I mean? The type of men they are. Talking about, our fears, talking about, things that, we wish we didn't do, could have, we talked about so many things. The future, what does that look like? How do you see me in your life? You get what I'm saying? Those are the conversations we were having. Were you having that with him? Because you never said that. You never went in detail of how deep it was. All you just said was we had a connection. We went on dates. Well, we all did that.
Y'all, okay.
So again, the kiss situation, is the biggest issue. Again, I don't know if Dakiya can prove this kiss situation. I don't know if there's a text saying later on, thank you for the kiss or something like that. I don't know anything like that. I don't know. Okay. So if there's proof, hopefully we can see it. If there's proof, we don't see it. But the truth of the matter is, in all honesty, what we are looking at is, again, Joy talking about the fact that, Dakiya's thing, can she prove it? Can she prove it? And I'm like, babe, I know, I understand. I get it. But I just need you to understand that I don't want you to be so strong, coming in strong 100%. When are we sure this is exactly what it is? You know what I mean? Then again, 6 months down the line, maybe that's what it is. But I think, again, that's about her behavior. I think she comes in strong like that. And so that's why I'm like looking at it and I'm going, hey, look, baby, you just focus on the aspect of telling your truth. I get it. But when we downplay Dakiya in the situation, it doesn't look good. Yeah. That's why. So I don't know, like, hey, listen, it's a lot right now. For me, I'm just gonna say, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I think, again, this just kind of proves what we're talking about in terms of the show. This is proof about how people are behaving. And I think we are going to judge by what we see and what we hear. And if you give us information and data that we can use, we're going to use it. If we can have information and data, we're going to use it in a particular way. And unfortunately, the information and the data here, this is what we're seeing. This is what we're saying. Yeah. So, it is what it is. So, listen, it's been amazing. We can't wait for Miami. But we've got one more interview to do. I believe I've got Demetrius to do on a Wednesday night. Demetrius will be on Wednesday night. We'll have Demetrius on to give us his truth. I have reached out to Joy. I have reached out to Clifton. I have asked them. I've reached out to Dakiya. I have asked them. So if we don't get interviews, I have said what I said. I asked them to come on here and give us their truth. If they don't come, it's got nothing to do with me. I mean, it probably has, because actually maybe I've said something, but I have asked for them to come on. You know what I mean? I've asked them to come on. I've asked them to come through. Yeah. So again, Chile, it's a lot right now. You get me? It is what it is. You feel me? It is what it is. All right, guys. Like, share, subscribe. You came out strong. 900 of you in the early hours of the morning in Americas. I appreciate you guys. Listen, 900 of you guys came out for this talk. I appreciate that very, very much. We gonna jump off. I will probably be on live a little bit later on. I'm gonna put a ring on it. I have to catch up. I've got a lot of stuff to catch up on because of not being around the weekend. So put a ring on it. I'll do a live on that and I'll break it down as well. So tune in for that as well. We look forward to hearing from you guys. All right. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked. So, do me a massive favor before I go. Influence Me TV. I need you guys to vote for Mui. Okay, Mui. I need you guys to vote for Mui. Let me get you guys a link again to put into the chat. I need you guys. You've done so well. I've got through to the next round, but we're in another round. So if you can give us a free vote, casting your vote for me, fantastic. Or if you feel blessed, like some of you have, I've seen already, some of you have blessed me and you've put a vote in there and paid for it. I really do appreciate you guys as well for doing that. If you can, also, if you want to put a vote in there financially as well, it helps boost it up. It counts more than a free vote. I would appreciate you guys for doing that. All right. So once again, guys, it's been an amazing conversation. Like I said, I've reached out to the parties involved. We are waiting their responses to see if they will come on and give us their interviews. Okay. All right. It's been amazing. It's been good. It's been fun. We will have another chop up and talk. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, baby. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.